Hello, my name is Michael Wybrow and welcome to FIT3178 iOS App Development. In this, the first of a number of short videos for the week, I will give an introduction to the unit. The following videos will cover an overview of the assessment, an overview of the weekly topics. Then I'll give an introduction to iOS, which is the platform that we'll be building apps on. And then there'll be two videos that cover the basics of working with Swift, which is the programming language we use for writing iOS apps. So let's talk about the learning outcomes for this unit. At the completion of the unit, you should be able to do the following. You should be able to describe the feasibility and technical challenges of creating iOS apps. And this will be using UIKit and its associated technologies. You should be able to analyze mobile interface guidelines and technical constraints to design effective navigation and user interfaces for mobile apps. You should be able to apply common object-oriented design patterns that occur and are utilized in iOS, such as model view controller and delegation. And you should be able to follow iOS best practices in order to design, construct, and test non-trivial iOS apps with a web service component. But ultimately, you should be able to build a working, non-trivial app. And that's because ultimately this unit is about building an app that can be an app of your own design. And in that way, FIT3178 is really an entrepreneurship unit. You have an opportunity to build a portfolio piece, a working, non-trivial app, that you can then show to a potential employer and demonstrate your ability to work with UIKit and the other technologies in order to build something real. So I'm Michael, as I said. I'm the Chief Examiner and Lecturer of the unit. Jason Haas is a co-lecturer with me. Then we've got a number of great demonstrators who have experience writing iOS apps, and a number of whom have taught the unit before and or work in industry. So we have Adrian, Amesh, Summer, Yushen, Aman, Justin, Tamsin, and Nevin. And then we also have Josh, who you might see from time to time in the forums, who's a member of our unit development team. So I'll talk a little bit about the prerequisites for the unit. Ultimately, we just require that you have experience with some introductory programming that covers object-oriented design. Beyond this, and from this I should say, we really just have an expectation that you are familiar with standard programming concepts, but also that you've worked with things like classes and objects. There's no expectation that you've done any Swift programming before. We will talk to you about Swift and compare and contrast where Swift is different to other languages. So in terms of learning materials, Moodle is the place where you'll find all of the unit content. That's where you'll find these pre-workshop videos, of which this is the first. You'll find, for the workshops, there'll be a mix of discussions and some live coding and some quizzes. I will also provide slides from the workshop where there are slides, and if I do live coding, I'll make demo projects available so that you can test these for yourself. This is also where you'll find the lab exercises and supplementaries. For the first 6 weeks, we cover all the fundamentals and require you to do the labs. In the later weeks, they're provided for your own convenience for things that may be useful to you for your assignment. You'll also find descriptions of the assessments, which we'll cover in the next video. The Ed Forum is the primary place where we have discussions and you can ask questions. You can ask things anonymously there, but I'd encourage you to just ask things publicly, because if you have the question, other people may too. And this is the fastest place that you can get help. We'll also make consultation times available on Moodle, or we'll list them on Moodle. They'll be held both online and in the computer labs where we hold our classes. And in terms of email, please don't email my personal address or Jason's personal address directly. Email this help account for the unit, FIT3178.Clayton. This one will go straight to Jason and I, and it's much easier to check that we don't miss anything. So this is the fastest way to get help as well. We also have a Discord that can be used for discussions as well. And any announcements or changes to the unit will be posted on Moodle, and there'll be email notifications for those. So look out and watch your email as you would do for any of your units. So this is not a unit where you can just leave assessments to the last minute or prepare the assessments with very little work. All of the assessments in this unit are cumulative, and they build towards the ultimate creation of the final app. Because of this, you'll need to spend the 12 hours of study that's allocated to the unit. What this will typically include for an average week is watching around an hour of these pre-workshop videos. It'll mean participation in a 2-hour workshop. And this will be beneficial in terms of going into more detail of things that were in the pre-workshop videos, but also covering common things that come up in the lab exercises and preparing you for that. It's also a great place where you can just ask general questions about the unit. And then following the workshop, there'll be a 3-hour lab class. And often you'll have some preparation for that. Now, this semester, we've got lab classes spread from Monday till Friday. So as a result, I'm going to run the workshops a week ahead. What that means is I'll make a week 1 workshop available to you in O week. And then our actual allocated week 1 workshops on Wednesday morning will be the workshop for week 2. So they'll be preparing you for the subsequent week. So they're always ahead of your lab class. Each week you'll be required 6 additional hours. And this will be to complete assigned lab exercises and extensions in the first 6 weeks of the unit, and then in the subsequent weeks to work on your assessments and really to work on your final app. Okay, thanks for watching. In the next video, we will cover the assessments.